little freak in the house.
This is the lovely Charlotte Northfield, who she's a local singer-songwriter, and she's very kindly offered to be my model today. I've already put on Charlotte. She's got some number 7 base, beautifully matte foundation in Cool Vanilla. She's got a little bit of Stay Matte Transparent powder by Rimmel, and she's got the peachy blush is actually by MAC, and it's sheer tone blush in peaches, and then she's got a little bit on her lips, which is Cream Sheen by MAC in Nude Scene. So we've got the base, so we're now going to start with a soft black eyeliner, and I'm using an Avon Super Shock in black. Okay, so the reason I wanted to do this quick smoky eye tutorial, close your eye for me Charlotte please, is that there's a lot of them around, and I wanted to do one that was suitable for somebody of such obvious youth as Charlotte. So all I'm going to do first is just run a really soft black line here. There's no precision really needed for this. It's more of getting the darkness near the lash line as possible, which is the first step of a smoky eye. And then I've got a Real Techniques detailer brush. You need a brush that's not too soft. The bristles need to be a little bit harder. So if the bristles are too soft, it won't be able to work it into the lash line. So what I've got here is Urban Decay Smoked Palette. And I'm going to use a little bit of Blackout and a little bit of Black Door. Blackout's a matte black and Black Door's a matte brown. I'm going to mix a little bit on the back of my hand, just so it also helps with the fallout, because Urban Decay shadows, whilst they are fantastic, do have massive fallout. So all you do is take it as close to the lash line as possible, because the smoky eye starts dark and smokes upwards. Now don't worry at this point if you look like you've been smacked in the eye, because it does get better. Don't panic, just keep working it in, and the idea is that you work it into the bottom half of the lid all the way across the lid, and just keep working it in. Don't worry too much about blending at the moment, we're going to blend later, so just keep working it in and working it in. So we've mixed a black and a brown. You can just use the black or a brown, but I wanted to soften it a little bit. Matte eyeshadow on the bottom. I've just got a generic soft small eyeshadow brush here, and I'm now going to take another Urban Decay palette. This is the Naked palette, which is probably the biggest selling palette of all time, and I'm going to take the shade called Naked, which is like a buff neutral matte brown, and I'm now going to take that, put it up for me Charlotte, thank you, and I'm just going to work that into the crease. And that's all we're going to do. It just warms the area up, and it just gives it more of a natural smoke, so it's less of a harsh look. So now we need to do the blendy bit, and this is a Real Techniques brush again. I love them because they're synthetic. You can use them with cream and powder eyeshadow, and they're available from Boots and Superdrug. And this is the Deluxe Crease brush. To be honest, I use this for just about everything, but this is fab just for blending along the crease. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but you don't need to blend all the eyeshadows together, you just need to soften it on the crease. So the next stage is to take a concealer. Yes, I did say a concealer. And use the concealer as a highlight here. And the reason I say that is that if you use an eyeshadow or a shiny eyeshadow, it can be quite aging, and this gives it a really modern, clean look. And the advantage is, to us more mature ladies rather than the very young and beautiful Charlotte, is that it's much more flattering than a shiny highlight, which may catch some of your more wrinkly bits around the side. So all I'm doing there, as you can see, is just cleaning up a little bit with the brush, concealer brush at the sides as well, because you're always going to get a little bit of drop off. And then what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of the concealer here, because I don't know whether you noticed, but I didn't conceal under Charlotte's eye at the beginning, because I do that afterwards for drop off and for clean up. So the next stage is though Charlotte has amazing brows, beautiful, I'm just going to emphasise them a little bit, because the stylised brow just helps this look pull it together. Again, I've still got the same palette, it's the Urban Decay Naked palette, but I'm using Book, which is the other matte shadow in there. It's more of a medium brown, and I'm just going to take a Real Techniques wedged eyeshadow brush and just work just a little bit of shadow into Charlotte's already actually quite damn perfect brows. But it just does give it just a little bit more emphasis, and fill out any little gaps in the hairs. 'Cause when you have brows as dark as Charlotte's, any little gaps will be noticeable anyway. Let's put a little bit more in over this arch. It just gives it just a little bit more definition. Okay, the next bit is to take the eyeliner again, the same one, the Super Shock Gel eyeliner I'm using in black, and just look up for me. I'm going to run this because it's really soft. I know, it makes you blinky, Charlotte. But that's good because you can distribute it that way. It's just to run it on the inside. Blink a bit for me. Beautiful. And I'm going to do what they call tight lining with just a little tiny bit, and that feels a bit weird, doesn't it? Not all the way across, just a little tiny bit in the corners. You okay with that?
I'm fine.
Blink away. Blinking distributes it, so that's fine. And that just gives a little bit more definition on the inside of the eye before we work under the eye. Thank you. Okay, back to the Decay Smoke palette and back to Backdoor, which is just a dark brown matte. So the same colours if you got on the top, now you emulate the top underneath. So Sharp, just look up for me. I'm just going to run this under the eye. I know it makes you blink. Does it tickle?
Yeah.
Does it? Sorry,
Very
sweetheart.
ticklish.
Are you ticklish in general, or is it just because
Yeah,
I'm
pretty
tickling
much.
under your eye with a little detail brush? It's the same brush again from Real Techniques. And that'll last all day, that won't smudge, so the waterline will stay where it is, and then just the shadow underneath just gives it some definition. Okay, so we can leave it like that, which actually for a smoky eye, for a day look, is great, but I'm just going to lift it just a little bit more with the Urban Decay Smoke palette, and this is called Bar Lust.
Very nice.
And it's like a very high metallic shine, mushroomy taupe colour, I would say. Close your eye. And I'm just going to run that just there, and it just gives it just a little bit more. And just look up for me, Charlotte. Thank you. And just a little bit on the inner corner of the eye as well, and it just gives it another little dimension. It's really easy to do. Thank you. So all that's left to do now is to clean up under the eye. So I'll go back to my concealer palette. Just look up for me. What I'm going to do now is clean up. So if there's any fallout or anything like that, we can now get it. And you can also, if you want to, sharpen up that edge. A little hair there, Charlotte, sorry. Just work it in. I do like to use a bigger concealer brush, but that's just me. You can use whatever concealer brush that you want. It is easier to use a brush than your finger to get that straight line. So, and that just cleans it up nicely and gives it a better shape. So as you can see now, if you look to the camera, we've got a lovely smoky eye going on. It's not too over the top. Anybody can wear this. So now all that's left is some mascara, and I'm using Lancome Hypnose in black. And we're just going to pop some mascara on, and then we'll show you the finished look.
A little freak in the house.